Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. Welcome back to Video Design and welcome back to our class on web development. Today we'll be continuing from our previous class which was HTML. Today we'll be discussing CSS selectors. So now whether you are a complete novice or you have some basic knowledge, I believe this lesson is designed to help you understand how to effectively use CSS selectors to style your HTML elements. So by the end of our time together in this class, you should be able to have a grasp on how to select and style elements on your web page. So let us get started. Now, first of all, for a recap, what is CSS? Okay, the only thing it is like the skin to your website. It stands for Cascading Style Sheet, and it allows you to control the layout, the colors, the font, and the overall appearance of your web page. Without CSS, your web page will be plain and unstyled, making it quite difficult for users to engage with your content because it will be very much unappealing. Now, with CSS, you can create layouts, you can have a visual appealing website, and you can also have an interactive website in the sense that it will not just look good on a desktop device, but it will also look good on a mobile device. Now, understanding CSS selectors is very essential. Why? Because you need it for different purposes. Number one, first of all, what is a selector? Let's start from there. They are used to select elements you want to style. A selector is a pattern or whatsoever you use to select the elements you want to style. They can target elements based on various attributes, such as their type, which is the tag name, their class, or an ID. Now, by using selectors effectively, you can apply styles consistently across your website and create visually appealing user experience. Now, the first type of selector we have is what we call the ID selector, or rather the type selector, as you can see. We have type selectors which want to target all elements of a specific HTML type. For instance, a P tag. Then we have the class selectors, which target elements based on their class attributes. They are denoted using a period, which is like a dot, followed by the class name. E.g., let's say for example, the class name, you go to your code and then you give a particular class name of joy, for example. To make use of that class, you have to say dot joy. Then the last one is the ID selectors, which target elements based on their what on their ID attributes. That's where you have the class attribute, you also have the ID attribute, and it is denoted using a hash, which is the hash followed by the ID name. Let's look good. Now let's particularize that. So for what is that selector? This type selector is it means if you want to apply style to every type of a certain type of element, you can easily do so. Now let's go to our code and just particularize that. Now the first thing I would like to teach you guys is how to connect or rather how to have an external style sheet. Now let me delete this. Let me delete this I already created. Let's do it again. Okay, let's do it again. Now let me cancel this as well. I already linked it here. Let's remove this. I already linked it here. Good. Okay. Okay, good. Now, if you want, the first thing to do, if you want to start styling your web page, is to create a CSS file. Now, to create a CSS file, all you have to do is to go to your, is to come here, use your Explorer tab, come here, open a new file, and then let's just say index.css. It's as simple as that. Now we have created a what? We have created a CSS file. Now, mind you, looking at this, you can see that this index.css is under video. So let me put that away from there and put it into my. Let's move it away from there. Now it is standing alone. So we are having different folders. We have the audio folder here. We have the audio folder, right? We have the audio folder. We have the images folder. and we have the videos folder. Then we also have the index.html folder, and we have the index.css folder. So we are having a total of what? How many folders? 5 folders here, as you can see. No problem. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, in order to link your CSS to your HTML, mind you, we have two ways to link our CSS to our HTML. The first way is what we call the inline CSS, which means this is us putting this style here, this style tag into the head tag that you can see here. I think I explained that in the previous video. This is also, you can either put the style tag, you can just put the style tag here, right? Come here, give our p tag or whatsoever classes or whatsoever I want to give to them, the particular kind of filter we want to use. Then we come here and then pick them out. Now, okay, let me just do that. Good. Now this is, let's say now the first type of selector we have is what? The type selector, or that the tag selector. Now let's say I want to style this p tag. I want to style it. I want to style it using the tag. Now this tag is called a p tag, right? This tag is called this part is called a h3 tag. This one is called the li tag. This one is called the ul tag. So that is why it is called a tag selector. Why? Because you you can access that particular tag using the tag name. I can style this particular thing, this welcome to my page, using the h6 tag that you can see here. Hope you understand. I can style this welcome to my page using the h6 tag. I can style this bucket using the li tag. I can style this pen using the li tag. Okay. I can style this audio using the audio tag. I can style this video using the video tag. Hope you get the idea. That is why it is called the tag selector. Now, for a recap, the selector is what goes now. You have the CSS, right? The CSS file here, and you want the CSS file to go to your HTML. Go there and identify a particular thing that you want to style. Now, this whole page, this HTML page has so many things, has so many tags, it has so many things you can select from. But you want to particularly style this p tag, this p, welcome to my development class, right? So that is why it is called a selector. It is used, the selector is used to identify that particular element you want to style. Now, I like when I was giving my physical class to my students, what I gave, the example I gave to them in a layman's form is that, imagine I sent someone on an errand. I say, go into my room, right? Go into my room, get me a white colored hand fan. Get me a white colored hand fan. Now, when you go into my room, you see a lot of things. You can even see a blue colored hand fan. You see the bed, you see the pillow, you see the curtains, you see so many things. You see maybe probably there's a towel lying down on the bed or something. You see a whole lot of things to pick from. But because I described and said a white colored hand fan, that white colored hand fan is the selector. Why? Because it helps you identify what you are going to go there and pick and bring for me. So usually a selector is what tells the CSS that CSS, going to my HTML page, look for any place where you see a p tag, which a p tag is my selector. Go there, look for a p tag being the selector, and start it to become this or to become that. Hope you get the idea. So the selector now, with selector tells your CSS, going to my HTML, look for anywhere there's a p tag. Now it comes to your HTML, actually, it sees a lot of tags. It sees the head tag, it sees the body tag, it sees the p tag, it sees the image tag, it sees the a tag, it sees a whole lot of tags, the h1 tag, the ul tag, it sees a whole lot of tags. But it is going to particularly pick out the p tag because you have specified to it that go into my HTML file and pick just the p tag. That is why it is called a selector. Hope we get the idea. Now, we have different kinds of selectors, of which we have the tag selector, the class selector, and the ID selector. Now for a start, we're going to be discussing the tag selector. Now the tag selector selects a particular element based on the tag. Now we have the style tag. You can come here and right? You can come here and style what? And style the tag based on the tag name. Now I want to style this H1. I want to style this H1 tag. I'll come to CSS and say CSS go there and pick the H1. Pick the H1 tag and style it. Now let's discuss first of all the tag name. Now let's say for example I want to style this particular thing you are seeing here. This P tag, right? I want to style this P tag that you can see here. I'm going to select it based on the tag name. Now, what would I do? First of all, after linking, now I'll come to my style, which is this place you can see here. So let's say for example, I want to style this P tag you can see here. This P tag you can see here, right? I want to style it, making use of the type selector. Now, what do? I come here, right? Now, mind you, this P tag is a type selector. This H1 tag is a type selector. This UL is a type selector. This link is a type selector. They all are type selectors. They all are tag type selectors. So in order for me to actually style this P tag, all I have to do is I come to my style sheet here, which we already created. And for a recap, let's just recreate this. What did we do? We came to our index.html file. We came to the head tag, right? We created a link. This is a link. All you have to do is just come here. Let me move this one. LINK, right? Press enter. You have a link boilerplate, of which you then link your CSS file. And how do you do that? You press /, it automatically comes out for you. Then you go towards index.css and then Control save. Automatically, you've linked your CSS file to your HTML file. Now going to the styling, everything we style here in our CSS automatically displays on our HTML file. Alright, so we want to style this P tag now. We want to style it. We'll come here. Let me remove this one. Now type P, right? Then do your braces. Now let's change the color of the P tag. Let's say we want to make the color of the P tag to be red. RED red. Control save. Now let's view that. And then go live. Okay, it's still loading. Loading. I don't know why this is slow. I guess okay, good. As you can see, we have welcome to web development class written in what? In red, as you can see here. So let's assume as well that let me create a button in our HTML file. Let's create a button, for example. A button, just type in button, BUTTON. Now we have a button tag. And then on the button we write click me. Click me. Right? Now we want to style this button. Now if we want this button to have a purple background, we have to go to our index.css file, right? And then take the type selector. What's our type selector? Button. So just say button, right? Open your braces and then background color, purple. Control save. Now let's go live and view what we just did. Now when the CSS is applied, every button element on our page will now have a purple background. Let's say we have multiple buttons on our web page, each saying different things. One saying click me, one saying subscribe, one saying view here, different buttons. The minute we make use of this button tag type and we change the background color to purple, all buttons across as many pages as we have on our website
becomes automatically purple. Alright, hope we understand. Now let's add more styles to this button. Now let's say we want to add a height of the button. We want to add a height to the button. This button you're seeing here. Let's add a height of 150 pixels. Let's say we had a height of 150 pixels. Right? Let's add color. Let's make the color, let's say color to be white. Where is white there? Let's just type in white. And then let's say border none. Border. Let's make the border to be none. So meaning that there shouldn't be any border. And let's view this. Let's view this. Let's view what we just did. So where's our button? This is our button. And our button is saying click me, right? Now we've added what? We've added the height, we've added the color, we added width, border, as you can see, and it has changed. So going further, with these additional styles, our button will not only be bigger, but also have rounded corners and white text. As you can see, this is a white text, making it stand out more on the page. So going on to the next type of CSS selector, we have what we call the class selector. Now, class selectors target elements based on their class attributes. They target elements based on their class attributes, and they are denoted with a period, which you can say more like a dot. A dot. They are denoted with what? A dot. That's how we recognize classes. Then for IDs, we recognize them using a hash. They too target elements based on their ID attributes. Classes target them based on their class attributes, and ID target them based on their ID attributes. For classes, to identify them, you always see a dot before the class name. But for an ID, you always see a hash before the ID name. Now let's put that in action. Let's go back to our code. Now let's say if we want to style this h1 tag. This one you're seeing here. We want to style this, making use of a class selector. All you have to do is go into the tag you want to style, right? And just do class. Type in class. Automatically you get a boilerplate. Now let's name this tag, this class name. What should we call? Let's call it h1, for example. Now this is the class name. Then we come into our CSS file, and then using the class name we do dot h1, right? Your braces, and then let's say we want to make that h1 tag have a color of green. Now press Ctrl save. Let's view what we just did. Let's also save our HTML file and let's go live. You see, as you can see, because we actually selected this attribute based on the class, this is the class name. This you are seeing here is the class name. We named this class name h1, and then we came into our CSS file and named it using a dot. We pick it out from there, making use of a dot, and color this green. And voila, as you can see here, it is colored green. Now let's go further. Let's make this one a different color. Let's give it a different class name. Let's say want to style h2. Let's give it a class. Let me say I call this class shoe, for example. The class name is shoe. Let's save this, and then go to your CSS file. Identify the class name, making use of what? the shoe name you just gave it. So dot shoe, right? Your braces, color. Let's say we'll give it a color of what? Brown, for example. Control save. Now let's just go to view that. Voila! As you can see, it has become brown, just as we styled it to be. So that's basically all. That's basically how you style your website, making use of classes. All you have to do, like I said earlier, is just go into your HTML file, give that particular tag name a class, go into your CSS file, identify it making use of what? A dot. As you can see, this is the dot, followed by the tag name you just gave to it, and then give it your value. And that's as simple as it goes. So going on, the last type of selector we have is the ID selectors. They to target unique elements based on their ID attributes, and they are denoted using a hash followed by the ID name. Now let's practicalize that. Going to our code. Now let's look for something else to style, making use of the ID. Okay, let's say we want to style this H6, making use of ID. What do? Just the way you did, you make use of class here. Just come here, same thing, go into your tag, your opening tag particularly, go there, type in ID, that's all, enter. Now give the ID a name. Let's say we want to, this is saying welcome to my page, let's say we'll call the ID, give the ID name page. Control save, go into your CSS file, select that tag name using the ID, which is what? A hash. Hash. And what is our tag name? Our tag name is what? Page. So hash page, right? Your braces. Now what we want to do, they want to change the color. Let's say color yellow. Good. Control save. Now let's view what we just did. Now can you see this? Can you see the tiny yellow showing here? This H6 has become yellow. It's as simple as it goes. That's as simple as it goes. That is basically how you change a particular tag name, making use of your ID. So going back to our template, let's continue from where we stopped. For a recap, we have three types of selectors which we just went through: the type selector, the class selector, and the ID selector. Of which the type makes use of the tag name, the class selector makes use of a period followed by the class name, and then the ID makes use of a hash followed by the ID name. So understanding type selectors, in order to understand all these different types of selectors, you want to change the font size of a paragraph, you can make use of the P. First thing you have to do is that you have to identify the element. Identify the HTML element you want to style. In this case, it is the paragraph element. That's from the example we just made. Number 2, apply the style. Now using the element tag name as the selector, which is the P, within curly braces like we just did, specify the styles you want to apply. Be it the color, be it the font, be it the background, whatever you want to apply it. And that thing will change the font of all the paragraphs or all the colors to whatever you have given it to do. Then number 3 is to view the result, which is you going to your go live tag or rather extension and then refresh your page to see all these changes reflected in your browser. So CSS selectors, they provide a powerful way to group and multiply elements that share common characteristics. They offer flexibility and reusability in your CSS, of which first of all you assign a class, create a class rule, and then apply your styles. Now, understanding the ID is same as the class, like we already discussed. Now, the difference between the both of them is that for ID selectors, you target unique elements based on the ID attributes, but for class, you target them based on their class attributes. For the ID, you make use of a hash followed by the ID name. For the class, you make use of a period, that's the dot, followed by the class name. And then for the ID selector, it should be used only once per HTML document. But for the class, it can be used multiple times. Now that's a very important thing you guys should take note of. A very, very important thing you should take note of. In the sense that you can make use of the class multiple times, but for the ID, you can make use of it only once, just once. Meaning that two different elements should not have the same ID name. If not, there will be an issue. But two elements can have the same class name, and then there won't be an issue. Now let's particularize that. Going to your HTML page, right? Now let's give two elements the same ID name, and let's see if it would work. Now let's make this tag H6 and H5 to have the same ID name. Now H already have an ID name of page. Now let's make the same thing, ID of what? Page. Control save. Now let's see what actually happens when we do that. Now let's go live and refresh our browser. Now see what happened. Can you see what just happened here? You see? Good. So please guys, take note of that. Take note of that. Going forward, now when as a developer you are going to come across so many errors. That's just the truth. You're going to come across errors, and in tech we call these errors bugs. Now let's say you gave a tag name as page, but in terms of calling the tag name you went to write something else. That is a bug you have to rectify. As you write CSS, it is inevitable that you encounter errors. Fortunately, there are different ways to identify and fix these issues. The first thing you have to do to fix a bug is to inspect your elements. That is, you can make use of your browser developer tools to inspect elements on the page and see the styles that are being applied. That will help you pinpoint where the styles have gone wrong. So please take note of that. Second is that you have to validate your code, which means that you can go online or make use of online validators to check your HTML and CSS code if there's a syntax error. That will help you catch simple mistakes that you might have used, or catch simple mistakes that might be causing unwanted problems on your website. And the last but not the least is for you to ask for help. Go to online communities. There are a lot out there. There are Discord groups that you can go to ask for help if you come across any bug you have tried fixing. Alright, so going forward,
Okay, guys. So now moving forward, now that we've covered the basics of the selectors of CSS, let's look at some advanced selectors that can actually help you enhance your styling capabilities. Now, the first one we have on the list is called attribute selectors. Attribute selectors allow you to select elements based on their attributes or attribute values, which can incredibly help you to deal with forms or images. Now, most times, let's particularize that. Let's go to our code and particularize that. Now, going to our HTML code. Now, looking at this, you have this image tag here, right? This image tag. Now, this image tag has an alt attribute, as you can see here. This alt attribute you can see right here, which says an image of a shoe. Now, for my previous video, I said that alt is more like, it means alternative. Let's say you have a web page and then your user is trying to log into your web page, but due to network issues, the image is not coming up quickly. Now, this alt attribute tells your user that the thing trying to load is an image of a shoe. That is the main purpose of an alt. Now, you can actually style this image making use of this alt attribute. And how do we do that? Now, let's go back to our CSS. All you have to do is come here, right? This code here. Come here, take out your alt attribute, open your braces, and then put in the value you want to style it with. Now what we did is that we gave it a border of 2 pixels with a color of what? Solid black. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. It helps you to target specific attribute values. Now going forward, the next on the list we have is what? The pseudo classes. Stochastic is what we call the second type of advanced CSS selectors. Now, they are special states of an element that allow us to apply styles based on user interaction or other conditions, which is either hover, either tap, or whatsoever. Now, how common to the class element is what we call the hover. Of course, everyone actually, when you're on the web page, you definitely will hover around it, which changes style when the user hovers over an element. Now let's practicalize that. Let's go back to our code. Now this is a button we already created that says what? Click me right here. Now we want it to be that whenever a user hovers around this button, the color will change. The background color of this click me will change. How do we do that? Making use of pseudo classes. Just go to your index.css, which is here. Come here. All you have to, let me just do this again, right? Let's just do this again. All you have to do is come press your button, column, right? Hover. Now, if I should go back, you should see that there are different kind of attribute that you can actually style your page with. Now we're going with hover. We're saying that whenever a user hovers around those button, what would they do? Now open your braces. The background color should change, which is to something like green. To green. Let's save that and let's see what happens to that. Let's go back to our code and actually view what we just did. Now this will make your button more interactive and visually responsive when your users are trying to engage your page. Now remember, it was showing purple as you can see right here, but when we hover our mouse around it, it changes to green as you can see. Now this is a very good way to actually style your web page into something very nice and beautiful. Now going forward, the last way to select your CSS is what we call grouping selectors. Now, sometimes you would have probably a group of different elements that you want to give the same value. Maybe you want to make them have the same kind of color, the same kind of font, or whatsoever. This is when grouping selectors comes into play. It helps you to apply the same style to multiple elements without having to repeat your code one after the other. Imagine you want to style this heading, these different H1 tags as you can see right here. You want to have you want that this H1 tag to H6 tag have the same color or have the same font size or have the same font family. All you have to do is to group them together and give them the same style, making use of just one code. And it come to your set and let's practicalize that. And this is it right there. All you have to do is just say H1 followed by a comma, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. After bringing out all the elements you want to style, open your braces and then give the value you want them all to have. It's as simple as that. This way, if you ever need to change the font for all the headings, later on you can only do that in one place. That is in one line of code. Now, this makes your code to be very clean. This practice helps keep your code clean and maintainable. Hope you understand, guys. Now, today we've covered a lot about CSS selectors. We've covered a whole lot about selectors. Now, we've talked about how they work and how to use them effectively in your project. Remember, guys, that mastering selectors will help you enhance your ability to create visually appealing web pages. So I encourage you all, guys, to please go out, practice what you've learned today by creating your own styles and using different selectors. Now, if you found this lesson helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more tutorials on this. And don't forget, share your coding experiences with anybody and all of your friends. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section.